Welcome to the Vegan Family Kitchen, and I am so excited today to be with Laura Simonson, who is the founder of Virchew, and we are here to talk about the food that we feed to our companion animals. And it is a topic that I am completely unqualified to talk about, as I don't have a companion animal and there is none in my future, unfortunately, as my husband is definitely allergic to anything with any kind of fur. And I also live in a building where we can't have animals. And so every time my kids ask, even a hamster, I'm like, sorry, kids. So we only get to see animals when we volunteer at sanctuaries and rescues. But I brought in an expert on the topic to talk about it. My friend Laura Simonson, who is a founder, business, I like to call her a business activist here in Vancouver, a supporter, cheerleader of our vegan business community here in Vancouver, Canada. And she has some really fantastic work going on in getting a really cool dog food company on the go. And I'm just so excited to be talking about it with her today. Hi, Laura. Lovely to see you. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Bridget. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Let's just jump in. Why is it important to pay attention to what we feed our companion animals?
Loaded question, but as quickly as I could think that, it'd be, for the most part, we don't realize that companion animals are also a huge part of our environmental impact. And so that's, for sure has become one of the main reasons why. But it really is because we do need to start looking at our own diet. And when I started this process, I didn't realize that when I had my own vegetarian dog way back when, people would say to me, oh, dogs, they can be vegetarians. And then I can't recall how many times I've heard now that people said, well, then if they can, why can't I? And so to me, there's a larger impact than just dog food, which is why we call ourselves Food for Dogs. So environmentally, obviously, there's the impact on the dog's health. It's up to approximately 50% of dogs' health issues are because of skin and digestive that could be related to animal-based proteins. And most people don't realize that. They don't believe or didn't know that dogs could actually be allergic to an animal-based protein, And also the third thing is that, the impact that feeding ourselves great food and then giving the same to our dog, that is such a beautiful energy, and it's so loving and it's so caring, which is what was behind our name called Virchew, is, what can we do here? So we call it good for our dogs, good for our earth, and good for our hearts. And that's that sort of gives you an idea of why.
I love this, right? Because there are very many companion animals, especially in North America, and they're part of our impact, as you say. But I love how you bring the aspect of the inspiration and this idea that we're expanding the circle of virtue, right? And it's such a beautiful idea. I find this very heartwarming.
It's like awesome. Children and dogs. And Bridget, I know you're obviously an advocate for family and children. Children and dogs teach us that naturally. And, that's the part that we just need to have more love and kindness and virtue through teaching that to our children, which we absolutely learn from them and through our dog.
That's just beautiful. I love it. So let's dig into that topic, because I know there are many people, even, I'm always shocked, I'm not a specialist, as I said, but I know that dogs are omnivores, not pure carnivores. And even I am aware that they can be plant-based, right? And I'm always surprised, even in vegan, vegetarian, plant-based forums on the internet, when somebody asks the very valid question of, hey,
right,
can I feed plant-based food to my dog, or what do I do about this, whether it's for ethical reasons or for environmental reasons or for health, there's always a bunch of people that say, oh, no, dogs are like wolves and they have to eat meat. What's up with that? And please enlighten us about the biology of dogs as companion animals that I think can have a more earth-friendly diet than we've been led to believe.
Yeah, it's a good question and good point, because I always liken it to exactly what we've been doing on the trajectory of vegan and omnivore conversations, plant-based conversations with the human nutrition. That same trajectory can be placed like a hat on top of a dog and the dog nutrition. And the reason for that is because the dog is not considered a true carnivore. If you ask any veterinarian, they are not taught in school, in their universities, that dogs are a carnivore. They're not. They're considered not a true carnivore, not an obligate carnivore. So dogs have walked with us for centuries. They actually, and you can find all of this information, of course, on our website, is they have actually formed digestive enzymes over the years. They've evolved. They've evolved past what their wolf relatives would have been. And just like us, we're on an evolutionary scale. The more that we could potentially, what we're going to see, plant-based foods and our microbiome even becoming healthier, will that change some of our? So, they really, I always ask the question too, if someone from, say, the vegan community or carnivore, community asks the question, I always ask the question back: have you seen evidence that states that a dog cannot thrive on plant-based foods? And there isn't one shred of evidence anywhere. There is none. We're basically just starting with canine plant-based nutrition. Like, it's just
That's
beginning,
awesome.
which is why we're setting out to have nutrition programs with veterinarians and provide the data, right?
That is just so wonderful. So indeed, I mean, we have co-evolved together, and certainly if dogs have been hanging out with people, they would have been eating a lot of plants if they were eating our leftovers historically, right?
Right. Like, if you were to think through this, like, what our relatives have fed their dogs meat, like, it didn't happen. They got the bone after it was in the soup. If it would have been in a rural and a farming community, the rich didn't feed even, I wouldn't think, their dogs pure meat. So any of our ancestors, if you really look at this in a critical thinking, really do some critical thinking, that if you were to look at it, dogs are not. They are not out in the wild. We have domesticated them. And I always say, do you ever see a little Bichon chasing a bison? No.
Nope. Or a Pomeranian. My
Right?
son's favorite kind of dog is Pomeranians.
Yeah, they're sweet.
I don't know why. I think because he's little, he likes little dogs. I have to say, I remember fondly when I was a teenager, we had my brother's dog that was hanging out at the house quite often, and my mom would be peeling carrots at the sink, and the dog would come and beg for carrot peels. And it was a nice black Labrador, and my mom would tell the dog, well, you don't have a bowl, I can't give you carrot peels. Dog would go away, grab his bowl, and come back and flop it down. He was just loving the carrot peels. So obviously dogs can enjoy vegetables, and I would say perhaps more than some humans.
They can, and it depends. Obviously, the same with us. It's how it's cooked. Sometimes can make a difference. Carrots are high fiber, so if the dog has too much carrot, then they can actually, can produce a loose poo, and that's what we've certainly found out doing all of our trials and all of the things, because we love the idea of carrots being in our food. But yeah, it's
that is cool. Or maybe he was feeling a little constipated, and that's why he wanted the carrots. Who knows?
And that's the thing. We got to trust. They know, because why do dogs eat grass? It still isn't everybody. You ask a veterinarian site, why do dogs eat grass? There's a myriad of answers, but nobody really knows. But the dog does.
Some dogs do a lot of really weird things, though.
They
as do people. So if someone that's listening to us today wants to start feeding their dogs more plant-based food or completely plant-based food, what do you recommend that they do?
Well, certainly there are a lot of options now available. And so depending on that person's lifestyle, if they want to cook or if they would want to simply purchase. So, even introducing some low fiber kind of vegetables into their dog's diet, which is why potentially, even though there's very mixed reviews on raw diets, but potentially if somebody is adding some vegetables and into that diet, at least the dog could be getting more nutrition than just pure protein and animal fat. And so even just starting with more vegetables, and they can put that even on a store-bought vegan kibble. They could start, do that. They could simply use the vegan kibble, and here and there, just again, put some fresh vegetables on top. Because I believe fresh is always great, which is why we developed a dry blend, which is basically dehydrated blend, and you just add water and it becomes right. So those are the kind of things that you would do. And I would also make sure, depending on the dog, if your dog's having digestive issues and if they're having skin issues, absolutely give it a try, because enough of the research is showing that they're, up to 35% of dogs have again, an allergy or sensitivity to either beef, chicken, lamb.
Wow,
even, yeah,
that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
That's huge.
And that's in a good study. That was in a good study. And so we know that's there, but there's also many other things that dogs, like the amount of dog breeds, the amount of mixes that we have, it's difficult to describe how many issues can happen in those dogs. So my point would be this: make sure if you have any serious issues, make sure you check with your vet first, because it's just so important to make any diet change for the dog. And then from there, if it's just a healthy situation, or the dog's got some skin issue, that you ruled out everything else that it could be, we've had just dozens of testimonials on skin getting better. And so we just go, okay, so there's something there that's working. So yeah, so it's just easy. Just get it started slowly, but make sure your dog doesn't have a chronic condition that your veterinarian would want to, maybe help monitor with you.
That's great. That's really good advice. And I'd like, you've been at this for a number of years now, and I'd like you to tell me more about what is involved. What is the process that's involved in creating a company that makes food for dog? We're here in Canada. I suppose it might be different somewhere else, but tell me about the journey of making really good food for dogs.
Oh, that's awesome. Good. It's interesting because the other day I was thinking about this. Like we're here in Kitsilano in Vancouver, and just, literally a few minutes south is Lulu Island. And Lulu Island housed the first, which became kind of a standard for the industry, was Dr. Ballard's.
Really?
Yeah. And Dr.
I did not know
Ballard's,
that bit of history.
Yeah. And it was, in fact, there was one time in the 1950s when they had an open house, and apparently a couple of thousand people showed up. And so they were, but what they were doing versus what we're doing. So I wanted to give a comparison. They were driving in wild horses, of course, animals. Yes, because horses were becoming not needed because the car industry. And so literally that industry is how, here it would have started, and getting larger here in Canada, is just using the leftovers either from the meat industry or using animals, that they did here in Canada with wild horses. So those things that people, it's not something I touch on a lot because it's not a pretty topic. However, what we're seeing here today, so here we are close to that area and saying, well, why don't we just, if dogs are not true carnivores, why don't we just feed them plants? So my history started, this is not just a few years ago. In 1989, I'm reading the book by John Robbins, Diet for a New America, changed my world, went and saw him speak, made sure I got his autograph, and that was where my world changed. And I was, at the same time, I happened to be in a bookstore, and the bookstore was an odd one. I don't even know where it came from in Saskatoon. And I was asked, and it said vegetarian dogs. And so we're talking 1989, 1988.
You saw a book on vegetarian dogs in 1989.
Dogs. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
And it stuck. It stuck. And so I'm an athlete. I'm into health. I really started to get into vegetarian, early in the early 90s. And then I went on to go, well, why would, the dog? I want to get a dog, but I'm not going to, I didn't want to feed her, meat. And so I did the research. I asked a veterinarian friend when I was living in Calgary, and I said, what do you think? She goes, we have vegetarian. We didn't have the word vegan much then. We have vegetarian food in our veterinary clinic because we do use it for dogs that have issues with this and this. So it's been known for a long time. So my journey started a long time ago. Then, sort of go further. I get my dogs. We have a fantastic experience with her. I cook for her. I make her a vegan dog. I meet my partner, Gord. He goes, oh my God, I've never seen or heard of, the concept around vegetarian dogs. And he did his own research. I had never gone on the internet to find out. So this is like 2009. And he goes, one of the oldest living dogs that was in the Guinness Book of Records was, I think Bramble is the name, but I think 27 years old, border collie, which our dog was a border collie. And then it was just this fit. And I just knew, as I'm in Whole Foods here, we've moved to Vancouver, I'm in West Van, Whole Foods. I looked down the dog food aisle and I went, it's still not here. And this is a decade or so later after I've, started researching the dog for our dog. And I went, there's something that we can do here. And
there's an opportunity for sure.
Absolutely. And for me, business, I started fitness and health and nutrition programs in Calgary, where I ran 12-week programs. I had a studio, and everything was around learning about vegetarian. I catered, I wrote the programs. We had a team that came in to help every week. And I went, business to me, I saw how much that kind of business made an impact. Where still today, there are people that took that program that are now vegan. And it's because they took that program and they saw my dog running around in the fitness studio playing while we're working out. And they saw her being a vegetarian dog, and it really inspired them. So, in a nutshell, that's what happened. And then we just went, there's a wide open opportunity, but what was missing is the evidence. And we need to show that. And that's what we're setting out to do here with these foods, as well as partnering with veterinarians so that we can do the programs, not in a school, not with beagles in a cage, but actual people bringing their dogs in for nutrition programs where we can see the before and after and be able to take that data and move it into what kind of formulas can we create next that can be even better. Right.
So there are a number of brands of vegetarian or vegan kibble out there, dry food. So what is the differentiating factor here? And also, are you saying that there was not a whole lot of research previously on the health impacts for dogs of being vegetarians?
There still isn't. We're starting to see dribbles of it. And again, we've got a great blog and great different things that we're seeing some changes. But this is why it's basically the vegetarian foods. This is what it still is called in the veterinary formulas. Is that they're usually tested in their own, again, having their beagles or their own dogs being tested at the company. They can have 8 dogs in a trial, and they're just basically showing, is it good for skin issue? Is it good for maybe a digestive issue? Maybe there's a pancreatitis issue. There's so many different things that dogs can be experiencing, but we don't see that evidence. All you see is the product come out, and that's it. You may see some things that the vets might see some things in the school, but we don't hear about it. So literally the idea for me was, well, we go and take programs. We go to, let's just use Jenny Craig or, Weight Watchers or an integrative health center, and we go and do a program, right? And doing a before and after, and you can see, well, how does that make a difference? Well, why isn't there something like that for dogs? So that's what I asked the question, because I used to run programs. Coincidentally, we're doing feeding trials here at Yaletown Pet Hospital, and the program we chose was 12 weeks. And that's what I used to create. And then I talked to one of the owners, Dr. Gavin Myers there, and he said, this is really good for the business, because we, of course, we paid for the feeding trials to be funded and paid for the food for all the people that 20 dogs in the trial. And he said, this is really great business. And then I started to go, well, of course, the feeding trial program can be turned into a nutrition program. So we started to do that. So we tested it at another vet center, and people came and of course paid, because they want to know, my dog, I'm paying hundreds of dollars a month for steroids or vet bills or medicine or special hypoallergenic formulas, and I'm not getting any answers. So why don't we test it? Why don't we do that? Why don't we do programs? So this is what we're in the process of setting up with our vet partners. It's
that is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love it. So
it's
tell me,
hard. It's not hard because dogs can't cheat, Bridget. Dogs can't cheat. And this thing, so they don't go, and get their ice cream at night or their chocolate, like they can't cheat. So the good news is we can literally see, unless they eat too much street food one day, we can literally see, right?
That is just fantastic. They might have a slipper or two, but
Exactly.
That's not too nutritious.
Yeah.
Is it okay to talk about some stories? Do you have some stories you can tell so far of
Oh yeah,
what it's looking like, your results this far?
Sure. Like I call it like we're just doing a lot of this now because we're getting the 1-year testimonials. We started with a special customer club that we wanted to do the testing ourselves. And testing means market test, what's happening to the dogs, what's the feedback. And so now a year later, we've got several 1-year testimonials coming in. And so they're basically, one of them, there's quite a few of them that had funny stools, like blood in their stools, digestive issues, diarrheas, things like that. And one was called Rowdy. So we call him, he's a good pooper now. And so he's a beautiful dog with a chiropractor here in Vancouver. It's his dog, very active, beautiful dog. And the vets thought that there was something wrong with his joints because he kept having pain. And the chiropractor, his human, said, no, I think it's not, I don't think it's that. I think it's something else. And sure enough, he wasn't digesting his food properly. He is now he's having no issues. He's gone. So there's no medicines, there's nothing they have to do. So that's a really good one. And we've had a few of that where bloody stools have turned around. The other skin issues, really, really great. So Julia Murray, who's one of our plant-based Olympians here in Whistler, and she's hooked on plants, 80-20 plants. She's a very well-known gal out there doing good things with plant-based. Her dog Zach is on our food and has started a year ago. She had Zach on a lot of different vegetarian foods as well, and Zach was still having really hot spots and some really bad skin issues, and it's gone. And that happened after about 3 or 4 months being on Virchew. So we don't know what it is. It could be that it's pure food. It's not cooked to 400 or 500 degrees to become a kibble. There aren't any preservatives. We don't need any preservatives, of course. So I think that's what we feel is making the difference. Easy to digest, easy to absorb, and then others are seniors. We've had really amazing turnarounds with senior dogs that I think we've heard 4 or 5 now that have said they would have had to say goodbye to their senior dog had they not switched their diet to Virchew, because they didn't change anything else. And
that's priceless. That is priceless.
We can't even say enough about that, because that was one of the first things was, if we can help these animals to live a little bit longer. Wow, right?
Well, but not just live longer, but also live happier and healthier, right? Because you can, I mean, just like people, just like humans, you can be living to 80 years old, but spend the last 10 years of your life with dementia or severe heart disease, not being able to do anything. If you can keep on running after balls and, post people, mailmen,
it's awesome. You're right. Exactly. They can keep doing what they love, and it's a life changer. And I agree. I worked in a seniors home in dietetics when I was young. And that's what part of that, when you're talking about seeing people that were, for 10 years, we prop them up in their bed and feed them and prop them down again. That's not optimal health.
That's just sad,
right?
Really.
And that's the part that we must start to see here, that optimum health is healthy until you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, the thing I find a little bit sad about a lot of those transformations, and I mean, the transformations are awesome, but now imagine if the default was veg, right? As opposed to veg as a cure or veg as a treatment. But what if we just started with really good food and avoided all of those problems entirely? Doesn't that make sense? But yet we're still here.
It's one of those things, Bridget, every day where I ask, why don't we just look at the diet first? Because that's one of the most important things for humans and animals. It just is. It just is what we consume. It doesn't make sense. So that was our thing. We're going to build a foundation that's just diet. We're not venturing into supplements and herbs and things like that. Veterinarians that understand that world, wonderful. We pass that to integrative veterinarians that play that game and do it well. However, our goal is just the foundation, a great diet, and what can happen from there.
Diet, and exercise.
Right,
It's true
right.
for
Yeah,
humans. It's true for
yeah,
dogs. And I mean, I never thought about it that way before, but we have coevolved.
we have.
And what's good for
Enabling.
dogs is good for humans too, right?
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
that's wonderful. I want to know a little bit more about your trajectory in this, Laura Simonson. Where do you find yourself now as the founder of Virchew? Where are things going next for you and for the company, for your big baby?
Awesome. The goal was from day one is to have as many people as possible involved with the formation of Virchew. And so my partner Gordon and I set out to start meeting people that, our friends and family, accredited investors, vegan community, veterinarian community, to join us, whether they come in as shareholders or stakeholders. And so now after 10 years, I'm just so excited because now we can state that 90% of our capital so far has come in through women. I love one of my passions is diversity and supporting it. One of my passions is supporting vegan business and having women be more inspired to have their own financial control, their own taking it where they will place money is different from where men mostly place money for investments. And it's even shown that women's investments prove to be better in the long term. There's a new study that came out and I was really excited about that. So women make maybe potentially different choices. This isn't right or wrong as I say this, by the way, it's just that we make different choices. And then the other is for more women to see that they can be involved and see a business starting. Maybe that would inspire them to start their own sustainable vegan, whatever the passion is for them. Children, like you do, teaching children.
Just having a business that aligns with your value.
Absolutely.
And making it your day-to-day is so
Absolutely.
empowering, and it brings a form of serenity as well. An inner peace that is way better than feeling like you're fighting every day against yourself.
I'll show you something. Absolutely. This is one of our patients' dogs.
Oh my.
Now this is Fava, who we had the artist that draws this is a phenomenal woman from the United States.
It's beautiful.
So, absolutely, to remind us that patience and calm and focus and those things. Absolutely. So yeah, the trajectory is we're setting out now to we've got another capital round that we're doing right now. And that capital round, we've broken through. We've got an amazing crew and team that have started. We've got amazing consultants and veterinarians that are working with us. And now we're just getting to the point of this capital round is going to take us to break even, which should be by spring of 2022, which is very exciting. And then from there, our goal is to just continue to grow as quickly as we can, ship outside of Vancouver, because right now it's all greater Vancouver area that we deliver direct. Right. And then we'll be starting the same concept. The goal is in Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, LA, going down the West Coast, because it's very similar in lifestyle, very similar in conversation. And so that's our goal, is to do this as quickly as possible, having our own Virchew shop, our own Virchew production, so that people can come in. We can use it as a community area. We can grow the community of plant-based foods for all of us, not just our dogs. Support the vegan community where they can use this as an event place. So that was another reason. So we want to have that in each center that we do it. We want to have pop-ups. We can do that at our veterinarians. We're even looking at the concept of taking empty land in the Vancouver area or anywhere and opening dog parks.
Oh, that is awesome. That's
and having a kids
beautiful idea.
Yeah, trucks can come in, food trucks can come in, we can have festivals outside. So there's a lot of joy behind creating all of that. And
I love it.
Yeah, it's exciting times.
In just a moment, when we wrap up, I'm going to ask you where we can find you and connect with you. But I have a question as the cook here. I'm the main cook and chief meal planner here in the Vegan Family Kitchen. What's in the food? Well, don't tell me your secret recipe.
Oh, that's okay.
What goes into Virchew?
Yeah, and this is the good news. Everything has to be on the label, right? That's the thing in the dog food industry. The only thing that is more or less monitored is that you need to be, the labels have to be accurate, right? Whether or not that's actually in there is another question in most foods, but in our foods, it's transparent. Come on in, we'll show you exactly what's going in. So it's a dry blend. So the blend is hemp, and the hemp hearts are, I think, one of the reasons why we're getting such great results. A beautiful high quality non-GMO pea protein. Then we have potato and oats and spinach and carrots. And one of our, I think it's a secret, there's a secret, and you can read it on the label, is gold. It's called DHA gold algae. And this algae is, it's certainly in some pet studies, it's great stuff, because basically it's the highest DHA form of DHA and the most pure form of DHA that's sustainable, because it's grown on land. And basically algae, people eat, when they eat fish, that's where we're, supposedly getting our DHA, EPA, etc.
Right.
We can actually go right to the source. And so that's a powder form that's not in human grade yet. It's a powder form that's just, again, grown on land. And so and then of course we have a custom plant-based supplement, which we've created, and we've created all of this in, of course, collaboration with board certified veterinary nutritionists. And it's very important that we have that, because then it's complete and balanced based on what they call the AFCO standards, and then that way we just keep going along as long as that is complete and balanced, along with these beautiful ingredients that you just rehydrate. Basically, we had somebody say yesterday their little girl was so excited because she can cook the food for their dog. And I went, oh, this just, like, it warmed my heart beyond, that, because that was one of the ideas. I went, we can feel like we're making a meal for our dog, right? So anyways, so that's basically, you can see it on the side of our, see it on our website. You can see.
So it's like a scoop of your dry mix.
Oh goodness, I should be showing
boiling
you.
Water, I guess.
Yeah, hang on. Okay, so here's a sample. Our first our first adult formulation is called the Love Bowl. And so basically, here's the instructions on the side. So basically you just add water. Right.
I see, okay.
You just add water to it. And some people, they go, it's like a stew, it's like a porridge. And dogs just love it. And we bake this food to create treats, because then it's aligned with the nutrition program, and we have other special treats and other really exciting formulas that are coming up as well. So yeah, that
is wonderful. So there's an adult formula, there's the treats.
Right now,
exactly. And a junior formula as well.
We right now our focus is more on senior. This one is helping with seniors, but our focus would be more for senior. We do have enough the calcium, phosphorus, protein, which is really important for puppies, but we strongly recommend to do a puppy formula. There isn't, I don't know if there might be one vegan puppy formula. I'm not sure where it is. I think I saw it online, but we're not going to develop that yet, but that's on the plate. More things like pancreatitis issues, kidney issues, other things that are important. But so far, the adult formulation seems to be touching on quite a bit of that. And a low fat, because it's important for pancreatitis, as well as there's a lot of overweight dogs.
Oh, yes.
And that's another part that we want to help with.
That is fantastic. I am so inspired to learn about all this, and I am not myself going to start cooking for a companion animal anytime soon, unfortunately, but I'm really glad that there's wonderful people like you and your team that are preoccupied with this topic and putting all your heart into creating the best
24/7
really good food for dog that we can think of. Laura, tell me, how can people learn more about Virchew? How can they get a hold of you? How can they get some of your wonderful food for their own dogs?
Absolutely. Okay, so if you're in Vancouver, for sure, we have a couple events coming up, actually. So, one here on December 11th, and I don't know when this will be playing, but December 11th, we're having an open house. So if you don't have a sample yet and haven't tried it for your dog, come on in. So we're here from 3 to 8 o'clock. And so you can get samples. You can come to the sample shop here and pick up the samples, or you can go online and order. So you can see on virchew.com. So it's VIRCHEW.com, and free samples. Just click on free sample and we'll mail it to you. And then
awesome.
And then from there in the Vancouver area, we are doing what's really important for our market, and also for the people that have dogs. We want to be sure that their dogs love the food. We offer a free month. So it's very, in some cases, we're up to $300 or $400 worth of value that you're getting.
Wow.
Depending on the size of your dog.
Yeah, no, for
So,
sure. That's a
so
lot. That's very generous.
Yeah, and then we have, of course, on our site. So if you go to Virchew, you can see there's blogs, a lot of good information on all of what we just talked about, Bridget, and then as well as facts. So there's a facts page. You can go through more information on what the food has been doing, and we have a beautiful testimonial page on all these dogs that are getting great results.
And great pictures, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then of course we're also doing our capital raise right now. So that's another one. So we're inviting women, inviting, vegan friendly men, of course, people that want to invest in sustainability and where we have aligned values. We're very focused on that. We're particular about who we invite to be a part of this. And we're really looking forward to meeting people that want to see this fly, because it's more than just a dog food company.
I love this. Thank you so much, Laura, and your team for helping us. I really like this idea of expanding our circle of virtue, whichever way you spell it.
Children love it. Children love it.
Yeah, it's good for kids. Yeah. It's good for dogs. It's good for people. There's no doubt about that. Thank you so much, Laura, for being here today in the Vegan Family Kitchen. I look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon. It's been a while. Maybe I'll manage to squeak in at the open house, and I will make sure to put all the information on how to get a hold of you and get a sample, and even perhaps a whole month of Virchew for people who like their companion animals to try it. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.